Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz, and today we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We're going to play what, as far as I can remember, was the first Half-Life 2 custom map I played, and it's called Das Roboss, and it was released on February the 8th, 2005, and the author is Tylak. And I think it would just be interesting to go back and have a look at one of the first releases for Half-Life 2 and see how it shapes up with the competition these days, and have a look at how level design has evolved since 2005 to the present day. Could be quite interesting. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, so off we go. Now this is my first playthrough, and I haven't really played this map since the first time I tried it back in, wow, 2005, that was a long time ago. It's quite amazing really, when you think that Half-Life 2 is actually that old. It really doesn't feel like it. Maybe I'm just getting old, wow. Okay, so the map is, it's got a really interesting visual style. It's kind of fairly standard for the time, I suppose. It's what I noticed is that there's generally a lot less props used in the environment than there is in maps these days. Obviously as a sign of the times, I suppose, rather than a stylistic choice by the author. You'll notice that most of the detail in the environment is actually made from brushes and things like alpha blended textures and things like that, rather than full-on models. There are a couple, but they're more used for just kind of incidental details rather than to make up a bulk of the architecture, like we see in most modern titles and maps. And I mean, I suppose I'm kind of an old school mapper, so I actually kind of prefer this approach most of the time. I think you can create a lot more custom detail using brushes like this. A lot of Half-Life 2 Episode 2 maps these days end up looking fairly similar to each other because, you know, there's a very limited pool of models available unless you happen to be a modeler and texturer yourself, or, you know, you have friends that can do that work for you. But generally that's getting more common these days, but for the most part it's fairly rare in modding anyway. So yeah, I do kind of like the fact that obviously the map is a bit less detailed as a result, because you're working with brushes and not these kind of high fidelity models, but you end up getting a highly customized look out of it, which I certainly appreciate. I think the kind of art of creating so much detail just by texture choice is it's an art that is slowly disappearing, I suppose you could say. The only reason I say that really is that in old school games like Quake and Doom and that, you only really had textures to create your detail with. Obviously modern times newer engines can handle more detail, but back in the day with Quake, you know, your R speeds, which is how you measured your performance, I think the limit was around 400 for these stock id maps in Quake, and that was basically like almost box rooms with, you know, box corridors and not much detail and things like that. So you just had to be very creative with your brushwork and texturing to, you know, get a lot of mileage out of the detailing. I think that's an art that's slowly being lost, and well, perhaps for the better, because, you know, you don't want to be limited like that, I suppose, but I think it's just another way to show creativity and ingenuity. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. Let's get back to the map at hand. So I like the fact that it's a consistent visual style, so you've got the kind of bright sort of white and slightly yellow lighting, lots of kind of spotlights and highlights with the red lighting. And this kind of theme sticks around throughout the entire map, and I quite like it. It's kind of a staple of the Half-Life universe, I suppose. Lots of you know, red warning lights mixed with your standard lighting. And the other thing I remembered while playing this, it hasn't quite ramped up yet, but wow, this map set is hard. Maybe one of the hardest I've played. I mean, I can't back up that statement right now, but off the top of my head, it's certainly the hardest map I've played in recent memory. So maybe we've all gone a little bit soft, or maybe this author is just a bit sadistic. But yeah, it's a really hard map set, and I do like it. I mean, I'm not sure if there's too much of it in this first part, but in part 2, which I'll be putting out a bit later, the second and third parts of the map, it gets extremely tense as I'm kind of wandering around with, like, you know, 15 health and no armor and barely any ammo. And every time you see a combine come around the corner, I just kind of freak out. It gets really tense. It's kind of a welcome change, really, because a lot of maps recently I've had absolutely no trouble playing. You know, I think if you look back through most of my videos, I'm usually at 100 health throughout most of it. If I do die, it's usually from some kind of ambush or trap or something like that. This map just kind of whittles you down over time, just 5 health here, 5 armor there, and it doesn't really give you a lot of pickups to kind of replenish that, so it's kind of a war of attrition, I suppose. You have to kind of take out the enemies in the most economical manner possible, otherwise you're just going to be running around with barely any health and ammo, and it's a refreshing change from what you normally see. So see, I'm just kind of checking out the brushwork here, and it's very kind of standard Half-Life style. It almost reminds me of a Half-Life 1 or Quake map in a way, in that the brush detailing is so prominent, and you know, the props are kind of pushed to the back. And I did check out the author's website. It's a bit broken out, half the pages are 404 these days, but you know, a lot of his past work was a couple of Quake 3 maps, some Wolfenstein stuff, and some Quake maps, and some Half-Life 1 maps as well. I'll read them off, you might recognise them, I don't, but you guys might. There's some Half-Life single-player maps called Total Evasion, Rescue 9-1 Freeman, and Infinite Rift. I think I might have played Rescue 9-1 Freeman. I really can't remember map names these days. And he also did a lot of firearms maps for Firearms, the Half-Life mod, and he did Hostile Planet, which was a map for Sven Coop, which I might have played as well, but I can't remember. And he also worked as a level designer in the industry. He worked for 2015. So I can't remember what games they worked on. I know I've played one of their games. I just can't think what it was. It's so long ago. But yeah, so he's certainly an experienced mapper, and it does show. His maps are very well put together. But yeah, in the readme file he said he wanted to make a really hard map, because apparently some of the feedback from his last Half-Life 1 map was that it was way too easy, so I think he's certainly fixed that problem in this map. It's just brutally hard in places. But it's never unfair, and that's what I like about it. He never kind of ambushes you with a ton of enemies. You always kind of see them coming. It's just a case of how you handle the engagements, and it really is a test of skill, rather than, you know, how can I just scare the player and make them die. It's a case of I'm going to challenge your combat abilities throughout 3 maps, and if you're not good enough, then you're going to die. And I can appreciate that. There's certainly a different kind of school of thought, I suppose. Now, this area I'm in now, it's one of the parts I didn't really like about the map. You know, so I've been down here for a little while, kind of fighting through these areas, and then it just kind of comes to a dead end here, and which I didn't really like. Just seems like a giant waste of time coming down here. There was no real pickups or anything. I just kind of wasted a bunch of ammo and took a bit of damage for no real point. I mean, maybe that grate was breakable. I should have checked, but if it is, then that's no problem, but it didn't occur to me at the time. So we'll come back out and have another look around. I do like this area because it's kind of a non-linear. There's lots of different activities you can do here. There's a couple of minor puzzles you can solve to grab some weapons and items. You can kind of explore around and find some places that way. There's a little bit of combat going on, but you're just kind of left to explore it in any order you like, which I really like, and I wish more people did this in Half-Life 2 maps. It's kind of like the action bubble concept from Crysis and Crysis 2. I shouldn't say Crysis, Crysis 2 I'm talking about here, where you know, you'd have a linear scripted segment, and then it would kind of, the map would open out into this huge area, and there'd just be lots of different routes you can take, lots of different ways you can engage the enemy, and you know, lots of secrets hidden around the area that you could explore and find, and then it would kind of go back into another linear part of the level after that. I really think that's a concept which Half-Life mappers could explore better. Linearity can get a bit much in some Half-Life 2 releases. I mean, for the most part, kind of the linear style maps in Half-Life 2 work really well, and generally authors do a very good job of that style, but I just think there's so much potential to create a non-linear experience in Half-Life 2, and I haven't really seen... I don't want to say that no one's done it. I'm sure people have done kind of, you know, sandbox area style maps for Half-Life 2. I just can't think of any right now. If there were any good ones, I'm sure I'd remember it. But maybe you guys can correct me in the comments, but yeah. Okay, so we've explored around there, and you notice I hit that button earlier which opened up these pipes here, so I'm going to go and check those out now. I like the fact that you get the random ant lines every now and then just coming to kill you. It kind of forces you to carry on, because you can't just stick around here forever. You're going to run out of ammo eventually. So it's a nice way to kind of force the player forwards. As we're fighting this Combine, it kind of reminds me of another thing the author does really well, and that's combat environments. Like, practically every time you fight a squad of Combine, there's always kind of multiple routes that they can take to attack you. Like this area here, it's like so you've kind of got this ring-shaped area. You can kind of go around in circles, and the Combine can come from multiple areas and kind of flank you, and you know, run around the side here and come from behind. This is a problem I see in a lot of Half-Life 2 maps, where like the Combine will see you and it'll just be a narrow corridor with, you know, a couple of cover objects, but no real opportunity for them to flank you or, you know, take multiple paths or anything like that. And the way that AI works in Half-Life 2, the Combine will take advantage of things like that if you give them the option, and the author does a fantastic job here of just giving the Combine AI so many choices of how to attack you. It's really well done. It's not just Combine as well, it's the player. Like, you have a choice of how you want to attack a situation. This area here, I figured this was brakes. I could see the pickup in the back there, so I figured there would be a way to break down this wall. I was contemplating firing a grenade at it, but it turns out that's not quite the solution, as you'll see in a moment. And this bit scared the crap out of me. I mean, I'm fairly low on health, I've got no armour, and then seeing this guy, I just started to panic, and then running into unknown territory as well with even more enemies. It's like the worst thing you can do, but I love the way that you don't really get a choice. It's an amazing panic moment. Now we're going to try and take him down. I've just thought, I was talking earlier about how the author never really forces you into a cheap ambush or anything, but I don't know, I wouldn't really call this cheap. I mean, you've got plenty of time to avoid it. It's just that I suppose the kind of shock value just kind of dulls your reflexes a bit here. So, yeah, I don't know if cheap's the word I'd use, but unexpected perhaps. Unfortunately, the AI did bug out a bit here on the Antline Guard, which is a bit of a shame, but it seems to have woken up again now. I like the fact that the only real place that you feel safe is here, and then the Antline Guard is scripted to break down the wall if you go in there. That's a great touch, just having like one safe area that just kind of gets destroyed by the Antline Guard is it's brilliant. I mean, rather than having a linear area where the Antline Guard will always come and break down this structure because the player has to go there to proceed, it's just kind of a nice kind of aside, I suppose you could say. Well, like, not every player is going to see that, but it's just great that it's even there. Nothing up there. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I don't know if this happened in the original version of the map. If you remember, a little while ago Valve updated all the Half-Life games to the 2009 version of the engine. So maybe this map has a few kind of sound bugs in it as a result, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, this door here just makes a really bizarre noise. And then there's a couple of areas in the map where the sound kind of gets a bit crazy. The DSP gets a bit over-exaggerated, like things like lifts and doors moving end up with this huge echoey sound. It's a bit weird. So you'll notice here I'm playing a lot more conservatively because of the kind of health and ammo situation. I've started taking my time a lot more. Like, I do enjoy kind of Ramboing it in Half-Life 2 maps because usually I know I can get away with it. But here, it's sort of like I'm really being much more considered about where I go and how I move. It's cool the way maps can influence your playstyle like that, just by like removing a lot of health pickups and things like that. It's kind of cool. Now this next part, once I get in the vault here, oh, I just get destroyed, and you'll see what happens in a moment. It's pretty humorous actually. So I really like the vault door there, and the fact that it disappears into the wall is kind of cool. And then you've got the kind of scripted door that comes down. It's a nice little touch. I like the setup here. You've got like this little standoff in the doorway, like Combine on one side and you on the other. I get a lucky grenade there. Take him down. And ironically, it is a turret that basically causes my death. Now that combine ball, man, it took away like all my health. I don't know if this is a bug in the original Half-Life 2, but that combine ball hit me about like 8 times or something on its trip. Pretty brutal. Luckily there was a minor health pickup there. Yeah, so right now I'm just kind of bricking it. You guys will probably laugh at this. It's pretty hilarious. Such bad luck on my part. It's quite funny. So I grab it, try to throw it over, and it's kind of sitting at a 45-degree angle, but it's still active and staring right at the entrance doorway here. So I'm kind of hesitant to go in there. So I'm kind of looking back for a health kit. I don't find one, so I just leg it around the corner. And that's the end of me. So yeah, did slightly better this time around. Managed to avoid that combine ball, so I've got slightly more health. Luckily there was a convenient autosave just before the vault entrance. So top marks for autosaves there, well done. I honestly think that a lot of the reason that some authors don't put autosaves in their maps is because they never die when playing their own maps. This is something I come across a lot as well. Like when you play your own map, you barely take any damage all the time because you know where everything is, you know where all the triggers are, which is why you're such a bad playtester for your own map. Never take your own advice when it comes to difficulty, because you just cannot tell yourself whether your map is hard or not because you know absolutely everything about it. Alright, so that's part 1. Part 2 will come as soon as I do the commentary for it, so enjoy guys, and I'll see you later.